Hi everyone, how are you doing? Today is the 17th of, Wednesday the 17th of January 2024. That's mad, isn't it? And this is just a short video, but before I begin, as usual, I want to thank everybody who has taken time to view the videos. I want to thank everybody who's taken time to comment on the videos as well, and thank you for everybody who's subscribed. It means a lot. These videos are helping me, and I'm pleased that they're helping you as well. So as I always do, I just want to make a disclaimer. I'm not an expert. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a guy on the internet talking about his experience of life and learning how to overcome certain addictions. In this case, gambling addiction. So I've talked a lot about, I think, every video that I've done, because for me, my only experience, the best thing I can do for you is to share my experience of the steps and how the steps work and how to interact the steps in your life. So I'm coming at you from a viewpoint of someone who's had a reasonable amount of experience of attempting to work the steps, a lot of experience of confusion around the steps, and a lot of experience of screwing up, messing up, and learning the hard way. So if that rings true to you, then you know what I mean. Welcome aboard. You're not the only one. Fortunately today I've got a life where I'm really content. I have a beautiful wife. I have a beautiful family. I've got the house, the job. You know what I mean. Everything that we normally take for granted, but for me, it's this still doesn't feel normal. Having all these amazing things in my life, it still sometimes feels a bit weird, because it certainly wasn't always like that. Gambling addiction, as you will know if you're watching this video, it can take us to places emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, that we could never even dream of. Going along with the theme that I've been talking about, this whole thing around a lack of power, to put it bluntly. How can I put this? Because I'm trying to think of it. I don't want to complicate the arse out of it, because I can really do that. So, the thing is, if you have a problem where you can't stay stopped. When I mean stay stopped, I mean stay stopped. If you can't stay stopped, and because you can't stay stopped, you always return back to gambling. And when you return back to gambling, you can't stop yourself from continuing to gamble. There's two problems there, isn't there? One, you can't stay stopped. And two, because you can't stay stopped, when you put your first bet back on, you're automatically destined to continue. You're automatically driven to continue. So I'll just repeat that again. If you don't have the power to stay stopped, when I say mean stopped, I mean stopped. It's weird how well, what do you mean stopped? It's weird how the word stopped could be so what do you mean, Mark? What do you mean by stop, Mark? It's stopped. Ended. So if we don't have the power to stay stopped, and only you will know that, if you keep going back time and time again, then the likelihood is you don't have the power to stay stopped. So there's one problem. So if you don't have the power to stay stopped, it means that at a certain time you're going to place the first bet again. Once you place the first bet again, you don't have the power to stop yourself placing the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth, and so on and so on. And that's why it happens. We don't have the power to stay stopped. At certain times, at certain times, it's like the mind shuts down. It's like the light goes off, and you're wandering around in the dark. And then, it's like something goes on, something weird happens within our mind, and we end off placing the first bet again. And then because of that, we place the second, third, fourth, fifth. Yeah. So if we don't have the power to stay stopped because we can't stop ourselves putting the first bet on, how are we ever going to stay stopped? Well, I've just got to try harder and drive yourself insane. I've just got to try harder. I've just got to exert willpower and drive yourself absolutely twisted insane. You can try it, but if you've already lost the ability to stay stopped, and you've lost the ability that once you start to stop yourself continuing, where are you going to get power from if you've got none? Where do we get power from when, like I say, we're powerless at this point, and we become even more powerless at this point? So this is it in a nutshell. It's the problem is a lack of power. If I could stay stopped, then there wouldn't be a problem. If I had the power to stay stopped here, so if this part didn't go, then this part wouldn't go. So the second part to it wouldn't happen. So that's it really, isn't it? I mean, it's like the problem is we can't stay stopped. So a lot of people focus on this second part. Well, if I just don't put that first bet on, if I just think about it, if I just think about the consequences, but that you can think of the consequences all you like, but if you don't have the power at this side of the spectrum to stop you from doing that, you're going to do that anyway. Can you see that I'm trying to figure out a clear way of explaining it. Stopping's not the problem. Starting is. Starting is the problem. We can't stop ourselves. We're powerless to stop ourselves from starting again. When I mean starting, gambling. If we're powerless to stop ourselves from gambling again, this means that we are going to gamble again because we're powerless to stop ourselves from doing it. So if you've had that experience, if you keep going back time and time again to gambling, if you keep relapsing left, right, and centre, because I mean this is the thing. This is the thing. These 12 steps are perfect for people who relapse, like myself. I mean, I was in and out. I was in and out of recovery more times than a fiddler's elbow. You know, and not knowing, not figuring out, not understanding, not knowing, and thinking, surely to God, there's a reason for why I'm doing this. Yeah, lack of power to stop myself from starting in the first place, because I knew if I don't start in the first place, I'll not end off rinsing my bank account, I'll not end off destroying my relationships, I'll not end off suicidal, you know, if I don't start. But I didn't have the power. I didn't realise I didn't have the power. It's really profound, this, isn't it? Really profound. And this is why they say it's cunning, it's baffling, and it's powerful. This condition that we suffer from. But this is why the 12-step program isn't a self-help program, because if you've got this condition, like I've just broke it down, this is why you can't help it. This is why you can't help yourself. And this is why we become willing to believe that something other than us can restore us to sanity, because we understand finally, for the first time really within our hearts, that we aren't going to be able to beat this on our own. And it's not an admission. It's not an admission of weakness. It's gaining an acceptance, gaining an understanding and an acceptance of what is wrong with us isn't a weakness, because what we have to do in order to get over it is quite challenging. But doing nothing is not an option. It is for, I mean, and this is why many gamblers unfortunately end off nervous breakdowns in psychiatric hospitals, broken relationships, suicide attempts. It destroys lives because it just twists people's heads to bits. So we came to believe that a power, because we understand that we don't have power, do we? So the solution has got to be finding some power from somewhere. So we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And then, you know, we make a decision. So we haven't done anything yet. Well, we really haven't done anything. We admitted to us, like the first 3 steps is we admitted to ourselves we were powerless over gambling and that our lives had become unmanageable. The second step, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And the third step is we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. Praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. I think that's it. But we're not talking, this is a step that people freak out about. We're not talking about, you know, somebody living on a cloud or anything like that. In this instance, your higher power or came to believe the power greater than yourself can be the steps. So we make a decision in step 3 to turn our will and our lives over to the care of the steps. And we act upon that decision by engaging in the 4th step. So you can see this isn't like something that takes months or years, and whenever anybody says I'm working step 1, you might as well you want to get through the rest of the steps and recover, and then you can have the life that you want. Why the hell would you want to stay at step 1? Just like kind of understanding, because that's the thing. Even all that information, even the understanding of step 1 won't stop you, because self-knowledge, knowledge about ourselves, we can have as much therapeutic knowledge as we like. That isn't going to cut the mustard at those points when we need the power most to keep us back from gambling. So this has been rather a long video, but again, I'm not an expert, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. There's people out there watching this thinking, what a load of shit, Mark. That's great. But if anything that I've said to you has been of has been if there's been light bulbs or anything like that, if there's anything that I've said that is you've had a light bulb moment, then put some action in. Because if you're identifying with what I'm talking about, you're the type of gambling addict that I was. And if you're the type of gambling addict that I was, the length of time that you have where you're not gambling is running out. Think of one of those sand timer things. So you place your last bet, turn the sand timer over, and you know the sand timer's going to come down, and the clock's just ticking, tick, 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 and then the bell goes off and bang, you're off again. If you're like that, if you can identify with what I'm talking about, if you can really feel what I'm talking about is the truth, based upon your own experience, it might be advisable to hunt out somebody who can take you through the 12 steps in order to recover from your gambling addiction, or alcohol addiction or drug addiction. It's very similar. I mean, at some point I might actually go through one of the recovery texts and kind of talk about it online with you guys at some point. But again, I'm not an expert. I started these videos because I just felt the information that I had that had been given to me over a long time could be of use to somebody, and it would be selfish of me to sit with this information, just enjoying the life that I've got now, without reaching out and seeing if this information can be of use to anybody else. So that's kind of the reason why I've done all this. No therapist, not a therapist. I'm not after anything. I'm not after your money. I'm not after adoration or anything like that. You lot give me back loads of stuff by just watching these videos and finding some use in them. So I'll leave it here, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about this first step again at some point. It's just massive. You could spend, I mean, it is, but the thing is, it's like if we don't have a thorough understanding of of this first step, then later along the line, you know, it's like when you're building a house. You build a house on firm foundations, because if you cock the foundations up, if you mess the foundations up, then the structure's going to have to be knocked down at some point, because it's not going to be fit for purpose. So take care, and yeah, just before I go, if ever you go to a GA meeting and nobody turns up and you're the only person there, don't worry, you're not alone. That happened to me last night. I went to a new meeting, and I was there about 15 minutes early. Waited around, freezing cold. Nobody turned up, so I found it funny. It's not funny, but it's like, I mean, it's just one of them things. So if any of you have that experience, don't panic, don't give up, don't worry. It happens every now and again, and you know, keep at it. Don't judge a fellowship based upon your first experience of it. All right, take care.